for Life Radio, episode number 107. Will and I are here with a special guest, Mr. Ken Kelley. Say hi to the folks, Ken.
Good morning, everybody.
God, he's got that radio voice, bro.
Slowly, it's Fit for Life Radio with your hosts, Ken and Will. I'm not back next week.
No. Now you get kicked out.
So Ken is a client of ours at Coastal Strength and Fitness. That's how we met him, got to know him. Spent about a year that he's been at Coastal. Ken, you want to kind of go over maybe your vitals there, fill in everyone your circumstances and kind of how you found us?
Well, it's kind of a long story, but
we got time, Ken.
I'll give you guys the Reader's Digest version. I found Coastal Fitness because I'd heard a few things about Coastal, real challenging. So I walked in the door and met Diego. He signed me up for the 1-month plan. And, I could say the rest is history, but the exercises at Coastal have been far superior to any other place I've been as far as I'm concerned. I've been to places that just, for the most part, you walk in the door and it's a vending machine. You walk in, read the instructions on the machines, and have at it. And form doesn't really matter to anybody else in there, but I've come to learn from Coastal that form does. Went to another place, a lot of isometric exercising. Now, don't get me wrong, isometric exercising built Charles Atlas. Made a fortune off of that, I think. But isometric kind of gets old. At Coastal, we switch things up every so often. And at least that's the way it's been for the past year. So, Coastal's my new home.
Nice. So, now, how old are you, Ken?
Well, I try not to say this too loud, but yeah, I'm 67 and a half years old now.
Yeah. So
nobody can see him, but nobody would believe that.
Yeah.
If you saw him.
I didn't either, and I think it's important for listeners because a lot of people, one of the biggest obstacles. So right now in the fitness world, which is relatively young, right? We didn't really, back in the 70s is really when bodybuilding, Arnold Schwarzenegger and the movies, he got brought to light. But the problem with that is people connect weightlifting and resistance training with like big, hulky, huge bodybuilders and movie stars. So most people who maybe just want to age healthier and be stronger and more toned, they avoid resistance training and weight training. And the reality is it's super helpful, and it's actually more important as we age, because when we're younger in our 20s, we naturally will maintain muscle a little more, we're more active, whereas as we age, our lifestyles become more sedentary, and it's more important for us to seek out outlets to challenge our bodies, and so that we don't just waste away, scarcopenia and all that. Mm-hmm. So Ken, believe you were in the military, so that obviously that sets a foundation of activity, but what has you seeking out, hey, I'm going to go find a gym, or even more, I'm going to go to this group training gym with coaching and accountability and a higher price point and invest in myself. What kind of got you,
what kick-started that?
Yeah.
Well, my before picture that I've published, back in 2013, shows me holding a microphone and I'm singing. I do like to sing a lot. Anyway, I'm also a DJ and have to carry equipment around and set it up. Part of setting it up is getting down on the floor. Whenever you get that kind of weight and you get down on the floor, you better have a plan on how you're going to get back up because it's a struggle. Yeah, it would take me 2 hands pulling myself and working a foot up underneath me to
just to stand back up.
Just to stand back up. And by the way, for those that haven't seen that picture, at the time it was 275 pounds. That's a lot of weight to be pushing around.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'7".
Okay.
So,
yeah,
my kindred spirit.
And on our website, coastalfitnessva.com, in the success story blog, you can see the picture, member spotlight Ken Kelley. Yeah, there you are, 2013, 275 pounds. And then there's a picture of you now, 2021, at 202 pounds, and you're deadlifting. This is at Coastal, trap bar deadlifting, a lot of weight there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think says the exact amount somewhere in here.
Yeah,
but
that large trap bar, I deadlifted 305.
there it is.
Yeah, and I understand that particular trap bar is pretty easy to lift, so I've been, going to the smaller trap
That low
bars.
bar making it harder.
Oh yeah, just the other day I managed to do 6 reps at 275 before I wore out.
Which is legit when you're going down. I mean, it's a couple inches lower.
Oh yeah, it is. I'm here to tell you, that thing's heavy.
Yeah.
It's funny how just that little bit of distance on a lift like that can make so much of a difference.
Yeah, I've gone around to other gyms and watched guys set their weights up for deadlifts, and some of them will put 245 pounders, stack 245 pounders, and set their weights on top of them to get them started for the most part. Of course, the guys I see do that usually stand about 6'5".
Yeah,
Exactly.
I was gonna say, there's reasons for it. If you're taller,
Sure.
so to increase the range of motion, or if maybe some people have mobility limitations and they shouldn't be pulling from the floor.
And that's
So,
one of the
yeah.
reasons we got that bigger bar was like, if you're 6'5" and we have some taller people at the gym, it's just safer to pull from that higher spot. But if you're short, like we are, like we don't really need to pull from, basically right under our knees, so we can use a regular trap bar.
Well, to help me out, I do take my shoes off. Yeah, that loses an inch in height for the most part.
Yeah.
That is true. And it gives you some better stability. And
Yeah, not to mention that better stability
Yeah.
because my shoes are. I need a pair of shoes for Christmas, Santa. Anyway,
we'll see what we can do.
He might be listening.
yeah, somebody will be listening out there. But yeah, my shoes are getting spongy. I've got to take them off for the most part to maintain balance.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's another reason I sought out the fitness lifestyle, balance, and also after I started pursuing the fitness lifestyle, I got with a personal trainer and was told go get a physical. I did get a physical, and the doctor says, "Ken, I hear something," and sent me over to a cardiologist. Well, I spent about 2 months with a cardiologist, and at the end of all the tests and everything, she looks me in the eye and says, "Change your lifestyle, otherwise I'm going to put you on alpha blockers." And
How old were you at this point?
at that point, I was 59.
Okay.
So that was, about 8 years ago. And I changed my lifestyle immensely. I had to do it slowly. Whenever I did the stress test, it's a good thing that nurse was about 2.5 times bigger than me. That treadmill on full incline and me running, full speed, that wears you out fast.
Yeah, they push you, man.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I lived through it, obviously. I'm here talking. But anyway, I changed my lifestyle and started pursuing the fitness lifestyle for the most part so that
What was the first thing you did? What was the first change you made? Like right after, I got a stress test, I got told I need to do something different.
the first thing I started doing was walking.
Perfect.
And, my wife and I, over the years, had been running earlier, but we just kind of let it slide for the most part. We used to live down in Savannah, Georgia. We'd get up every morning before work and go run a couple of miles. But after we moved up here, something happened that we just didn't.
Well, you get shaken out of your routine, and it
Yeah.
takes effort to get back into that routine. And
Yeah. All
Yeah.
your environment changes.
Well, not to mention it's warmer down in Savannah.
that's also true.
Yep.
So anyway, but yeah, kind of let ourselves go and cause that weight to come back on.
Yeah. And one key thing there is, we talked about this in a recent podcast, especially with men for whatever reason. They won't start until something drastic happens, So,
That's a
and
fact.
it's important to learn from that. Hey, let's do things in your 30s and 40s to help prevent, having to have these drastic.
Yeah, having an emergency
Things
when you're in
happen.
your 50s.
And then, like you said, or from your experience, and this is something we preach, the power of consistency, right? And it's not so much that during times of transition and change, it's easy to fall off. Whereas if you could have kept walking or just doing a little something, it keeps everything in line a little more. So yeah, that power of consistency, and it's never too late to start, right? Because now, you live and breathe the lifestyle. You got your biceps popping out there, and we'll get into some nutrition stuff, but you're
thriving right now.
yeah, you're thriving,
Oh, yes.
and it doesn't matter if if you missed a whole decade and things went south, and for example, I know you had mentioned how even the ebbs and flows within doing this stuff. You mentioned how over COVID you had gain some weight, right?
Oh, yes.
And then this year you kind of line things back up, knock the weight back off. What when that happens for you now, so obviously you have confidence in what you need to do, and you were aware of what happened during COVID, like you were, just at home more, inside more, you start eating more, but what do you personally do now to kind of manage your body weight and get to where you want to be?
Well, after the past year, for the most part, I've been tracking using myplate.gov. The other one out there is FitnessPal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're both basically the same. I track what I eat, and I try to keep conscious of how much I eat.
Mm-hmm.
That's key.
Yeah.
Because if you eat too much, they say too much of a good thing can be bad for you.
Absolutely. As
That's
evidenced by America.
Yeah, the education in that arena for the most part has been key. You can go out and have a piece of cheesecake, just don't eat the whole thing.
Yep.
Okay, or watch the slice that's handed to you. If somebody is getting ready to slice a piece for you, say, well, no, make mine a little thinner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just watch how much you eat. You can eat just about anything you want, but it's the amount for the most part.
That pretty much sums it all up
Yeah.
for nutrition.
And I'm watching that now. I'm not tracking. I haven't been tracking for 2 weeks, and my weight is pretty much constant.
Mm-hmm. So when you say that, you're not tracking your food intake, but you are still tracking your body weight, right?
Oh yes. Whenever I say I'm not tracking my
Mm-hmm.
food intake, I'm not physically putting it down.
Yep.
But I'm not unconsciously
Yeah.
walking to the refrigerator or the pantry and grabbing a little bite to eat. The BLTs, I think you've mentioned once before, and other programs, bites, licks, and tastes, they all add up.
Yeah.
They do.
And I think,
So-
and that's one place we want people to get, and tracking is a great tool, and it helps you learn and bring super awareness. But then eventually, you shouldn't need to track forever. But one thing we do think is very simple and helpful, and again, not for everyone, but for most people, they should probably continue tracking their body weight. For one, it's easy, it's cheap, it's free, but it brings an overall level of awareness to where, no one, whenever we gain 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds, things get out of control. I've never met anyone that gained that amount of weight and was weighing in every day.
And saw it happen every single day.
Because no one's going to watch, because we kind of, in the back of our mind, know the decisions that would make a difference. So that's a good way to keep it simple and kind of manage your body weight once you get to your goal.
And you've probably built a pretty good routine and have foods that you regularly go to. And then for you, if you go out, not being unreasonable, not eating a whole cheesecake, but just getting a small slice, enjoying it and moving on.
Yeah, even going out to eat, Mexican restaurant. There were times in the past that my wife and I would sit there and devour one basket of chips, and they'd bring us another. Pretty soon it's gone too.
Yeah.
And 2 or 3 margaritas a piece, later.
Yeah. And that's,
Yep.
that could be 2,500 calories
Oh my gosh.
for dinner.
Yeah.
It's 2,500 calories for the margarita.
Boy, yeah.
Just one by itself.
God.
Yeah. And
But-
that's where it easily adds up, right? And then
And then we're not weighing in daily, so we don't think about it. And we do
Yeah.
that often, and here we are.
Well, I do have a routine every morning after I exercise at the gym.
Yeah, well, you normally come at what, 5:15?
5:15.
Okay.
Every morning I go home and strip down to put some dry clothes on, of course, and I step on the scales and take a look. And that's my time to check the scales. Sometimes I'll check the scales in the evening to see, how much weight I may have gained just through my daily consumption. Sometimes I'm surprised I weigh less in the evening than I did in the morning. And even though I've consumed a lot, it's because of my daily activity, which I'm cognizant of too. Kind of
Do you,
track that mentally.
Okay, so you don't track your steps or anything, but you just...
Well, the iPhone tracks all the steps.
Okay, cool.
But we were religiously getting out and walking whenever the weather was a little warmer and getting at least 10,000 steps. And by the end of the day, I'd look to see what my total step count was, and it was nearly 20,000. And by the way, one of the exercises out there that'll wear off calories real quick is just walking.
100%.
Get off the couch, take those roots, snip them off, get off the couch and get out and walk a little bit. And you will burn some calories.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, that portion of our metabolism burns way more calories than our exercise
Our
activity.
workouts, yeah.
It's just move throughout the day.
It's probably the biggest piece of the pie as far as like calories
and
burned.
it's low impact. It's our we're made to walk,
Yeah.
right? It's something we should be doing, and most people don't spend much time
And
doing
it's
it.
free.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just go. That's it.
It doesn't cost a thing to get out and walk.
Yeah, and then you can start folding in some of the mental benefits of being outside, breathing fresh
And getting
air,
sunlight.
getting sunlight, and it starts to be double, triple.
It's just the total package, man.
Benefit.
It really is. Like there's so much you can get from just going outside and walking at some point in the day.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can become a leader in the neighborhood. Next thing you know,
Yep.
other folks are out walking.
Yeah.
You know, you
That's
take a little time to stand there and watch. You know, next thing you see is folks going by your house. You know, we live in a double cul-de-sac area.
Oh,
So
okay.
we've got 1 mile from one cul-de-sac to the other and back.
Yeah.
That's actually dope. You got a little loop.
That's what it is.
I like that. I have no idea what my neighborhood is. I should probably measure it.
Yeah. You have to live in like a townhouse, right?
Yeah. So, but there's a loop. You
Yeah.
know, it's like just a straight circle. I'll have to check it. We got 2 guys that walk every single day together for at least an hour.
Yeah.
And I like to think that that's what my future's going to be.
And
Just
now-
me and Gary walking every morning when we're like 60 years old.
2 little chihuahuas.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I'm ready.
Yeah, don't ever give up. You know, one of my inspirations, I think about whenever I was active duty and stationed in Germany, we'd go on what's called folks marches.
Folks marches.
Yeah, folks mean people. Go on those marches anywhere from 5K, 10K, 15, 20K. And, you know, there's beer tents along the way, so you can stop and get a little refreshment if you like. You know, especially a beer tent at the end, you know. But anyway, I looked at a lot of those folks, and it's kind of like, these people out here walking, their legs don't look like their uppers, you know. Their uppers look like they were in their 90s, and their legs look like they were in their teens, for the most part.
Yep.
Those folks get out and march, you know, at least once a week and go those long distances. Yeah, and that's a bit of an inspiration.
Yeah.
Another inspiration that came up the other night, what was it? It wasn't 60 Minutes. I'll think of the woman's name that hosted the interview, but folks in Sardinia, Sardinia has more centenarians than any place else on the planet. There's got to be a reason for that. And a few clips I saw, those folks stayed active.
It's the key, man.
Yeah, you got to stay active. Yeah, and, you know, I'm studying the Senior Fitness Manual, you know, by ACE. And one of the charts that I looked at last night, you've got about 65% of the people out there that are just coasting along for the most part. Some of them may have a cane, but they're still somewhat independent, but fading fast. Now, the population's kind of large, but then it filters down to those that are frail and pretty much need assistance with all of the, how do they call it, ADLs?
All your daily stuff.
Yeah, activities of daily living. They need assistance with that for whatever reason. Some of them are in wheelchairs, some are behind walkers, some are missing limbs. Some of them have succumbed to diseases. So, but then there's that 5%. And I'd like to think that because what I've been doing, I'm probably, you know, just right there at that 5%,
Yeah.
which is the physically fit elite for the most part in the senior territory. It didn't say where that senior range starts as far as age goes, but I'm going to assume that it's somewhere around 60 to 65.
I mean, really, I would say nowadays you could almost say it's 25 and up, right?
Yeah.
Because of the way people just, you know, once they kind of hit that corporate world, people just stop moving, stop doing things, and that really starts the process.
It starts to decline quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some of it that's starting in high school.
It's,
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Some of it in grade
8-year-olds.
school.
Yeah.
They feel fine, or they think they feel fine, and I don't need to exercise. You know, I'm strong enough. I can get around. You know, I'm still walking. I'm still breathing. They just don't know what the ramifications are. And whenever I mentioned earlier that, you know, we're products of our environment, if I'd been in an environment when I was younger, that promoted physical fitness, I would be more fit today than what I am now. But I was not in an environment like that. the only fitness training I received was in high school. It's because I decided to go out for the football team. And the football team looked at me and says, go over here to the wrestling team and get in shape first.
We are built like wrestlers at 5'7".
Yeah. So anyway, that's basically where I started.
And you talk about environment with people, we have to shift our perception. And even when I was younger, when you thought of someone in their 60s, 50s, 60s, you would think of, we almost accept that you're supposed to be frail and unable to move.
And that's just part of life.
Don't pick anything up. And so that starts to become, that's just being older, right? But the reality is, and now this is one of the benefits of social media and just our ability to see more. I see guys like Mark Sisson, with Primal, what's his business? Primal something.
Primal Blueprint, Primal Foods.
Yeah, and he's in his mid-60s and doing stuff that he's been doing since he was 30, right? And he's been able to maintain that. So our body adapts to what we do. And you talk about like going for walks around the neighborhood. I always remind myself when I'm doing so we know the default is most people become inactive, definitely aren't resistance training, and we end up in pain and can't walk and severe limitations. So when I'm walking around the neighborhood, which there's hundreds and hundreds of people that live there, and I barely maybe see more than 10 of them.
Yep.
And it's like I remind myself, this is, like you said, the 5%. These are the things. If you want a different result, you have to have a different process, right?
You bet.
So for me, it's like, hey, taking this daily walk for the next 30 years is what's going to help me be able to do the same stuff I do now at 36 as when I'm 60.
That's probably one of the biggest difference makers.
Yeah.
Is maintaining that across your lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I firmly believe, and I mean, the perfect example is Coastal Strength and Fitness. That's what's great, right? You're in there, 5:15 a.m., and there's people from 25 years old to all the way up, and everyone's held to, hey, we're meeting you where you're at, what are you physically capable of? But it's like learn to do the movement right and correct and what you're capable of. And then, you're in there pushing, hey, let me get as strong as I can, and someone else is working on the same thing. And like you said, it's just all the environment of activity and physical fitness and encouraging people to get stronger and move better. Mm-hmm. And then that's going to plant in your mind, this is normal.
Yeah. I think the environment thing that he mentioned, like if he was in a better, environment when he was younger would help. And I think it's like culturally, it's almost like there's people that like, I don't know, people think the baseline is like not doing anything. And then the people who are really into exercise, they're the ones who work out. Where it should be like a base level of everybody's physically active as a human being. Like it's just what we do because it's what our bodies need. And it is going to require a shift that I don't think we're ready for culturally, of everyone to just like, this is what you do, And it, you see things like, I mean, PE in school is like a good way to get people moving, but how many people don't even do PE anymore?
Yeah.
You can opt out really easy, like, oh, my son or daughter doesn't do PE. Well, that's like key to being a human, and we're cutting that off at the legs. So I think it would be beneficial if we, made that shift to where it's just what we all do. And of course, like we can all do our part, which we do, but it definitely is an uphill battle.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of folks, and there are some folks out there that are young that pursue the physical fitness lifestyle, and their children are starting to key in on that. Mm-hmm. You mentioned a lot of folks opt out of PE in high school. They'll opt out for several reasons. One, the same thing that adults do. They think that you got to be in shape to be in the gym for the most part. You go to the gym to get into shape. That's one. Number two is modesty. Being self-conscious.
100%.
All of that. But if their parents had been conscious enough to pursue a physical fitness lifestyle, the children are going to follow along.
100%.
So, well, not 100%. Well, they stand a better chance.
Definitely a better chance.
So there's no guarantees in life. pursue the physical fitness lifestyle will definitely make whatever condition you may have, whether you're ill or you're healthy, it'll definitely cushion the blow on illness for sure.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
it's everyone's best chance for that.
The past few years since I've been pursuing the fitness lifestyle, I think I've been to the doctor a couple of times, and what I would think would be a sinus infection actually turns out to be, a common cold. No flu, no strep or anything like that. Done in 3 days. Yeah. Then I wait for next year.
Yeah, you're just more robust. You handle everything better.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Because people don't realize that's kind of how exercise works.
Mm-hmm.
It almost creates a stimulus to your body that breaks it down a little, and your body goes, I wasn't prepared for that. I need to rebuild. So you're kind of challenging your immune system, and it makes it more robust.
Yeah.
Well, I got to thinking about one of the guys that we studied while we were in high school, Ponce de Leon.
If you know me, you know I'm always on the run, up early and home late, so having a 3-hour morning routine isn't really in the cards for me. What is in the cards is AG1. It's a fast way to get vitamins and minerals I need to perform. I first gave AG1 a try because I wanted a single solution that helps support my entire body by filling in nutrient gaps and simplifying my morning routine. Since drinking AG1 daily, I've always felt strong and energized and ready to attack the day. Not only does AG1 deliver my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more, it's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. It's one scoop, mixed in water, once a day, and every day. I know that AG1 is giving my body high-quality nutrition. Every batch of AG1 goes through a rigorous testing process, so you know that it's safe. And AG1 ingredients are sourced for absorption, potency, and nutrition density. AG1 is a supplement that I trust to provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why I'm excited to welcome them as a new partner. Here is your chance to start every day this season with a gift to yourself. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/provengrit. That's drinkag1.com/provengrit. Check it out. If you know me, you know I'm always on the run, up early and home late, so having a 3-hour morning routine isn't really in the cards for me. What is in the cards is AG1. It's a fast way to get vitamins and minerals I need to perform. I first gave AG1 a try because I wanted a single solution that helps support my entire body by filling in nutrient gaps and simplifying my morning routine. Since drinking AG1 daily, I've always felt strong and energized and ready to attack the day. Not only does AG1 deliver my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more, it's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. It's one scoop, mixed in water, once a day, and every day. I know that AG1 is giving my body high-quality nutrition. Every batch of AG1 goes through a rigorous testing process, so you know that it's safe. And AG1 ingredients are sourced for absorption, potency, and nutrition density. AG1 is a supplement that I trust to provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why I'm excited to welcome them as a new partner. Here is your chance to start every day this season with a gift to yourself. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/provengrit. That's drinkag1.com/provengrit. Check it out.
He was always in quest for the fountain of youth.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't realize it, but he was carrying it with him. And I've come to think of the fountain of youth as being the blood flowing through our veins. If we keep it moving at a rapid pace, then our immune system can work on all the areas. But if you get sedentary, the blood flow slows down, and the areas that end up infected don't heal anywhere near as fast.
Yeah.
So,
I think a good way to think about that, and this, of course, is way more nuanced, but think of flowing water versus stagnant pond.
you bet.
Yeah.
Flowing water's, for the most part, going to be clean and clear, and then, if a pond is just sitting there, things can grow, and the environment becomes not quite as sustainable as moving water.
That's a good analogy. I've been on hikes with the Boy Scouts, and we got lost one year in the Shawnee National Forest. We ran out of water in our canteens, and we come across a flowing creek, and we all just kind of looked at one another. Who's got the purification tablets? Scoutmaster says, you don't need those here.
Yeah.
Bend down and take a drink. Because,
for water like that, you don't need it.
It was flowing. And talk about something that tasted good, too.
Yeah.
I bet. Yeah, but if it was, a puddle of water, you better get those babies out.
Yeah, the puddles of water, we pulled out the purification tablets.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and what's going on there with the body is our blood, we deliver nutrients through our blood, and our heart pumps the blood, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you exercise, your heart rate increases and it pumps more blood, delivers more nutrients. And then longer term, so then a lot of people will say, oh, but if your heart's beating more, you only have so many beats. But the reality is now you're exercising your heart, it gets stronger, it's able to pump more blood
with less beats
per beat. So then when you're not exercising, which is majority of the time, your resting heart rate goes down, but you're getting more stronger, pumps per beat.
Yeah.
And so again, you're getting better blood flow and nutrient delivery through being in shape.
And
you bet.
And another thing too is, like you mentioned, nutrients being delivered. It's also like the opposite. Like part of the process of living, like there is waste, especially when you work out and you move, and being able to clear that effectively, which happens only by, moving ourselves. Our lymph system and stuff doesn't have a pump. The only pump for it is our muscles contracting. So if we're not moving and contracting, then we're not clearing that waste very well.
Yep.
And that is a big part of movement, and why not moving, like people start to feel bad, and, diseases and disorders start to creep up when there's a lack of movement in a body.
Well, one thing I would like to study is how many folks who are in shape end up with bypasses, whether it be carotid artery or, one of the 4 arteries around the heart. Everybody that I've seen that needed bypasses, for the most part, they weren't quite in shape.
Yep.
My dad, I watched him I think he was, 65. Ended up going in for a bypass. When they got in there, they said, well, this is going to be a quad. Oh, yeah. All 4
and that
arteries,
happens, man, yeah.
all 4 were plugged. Yeah, and with the blood flow, though, if you keep it pumping, I got a funny feeling you're going to keep a lot of that plaque washed out of there.
For sure.
And when they do studies with indigenous tribes, that still live, hunter-gatherers and all that, these things don't exist.
Yep.
They literally, they'll do all the tests on them, and, from the young to the elder, there's no
Heart
attacks,
disease.
there's no heart disease, there's no, it just doesn't exist. And they'll even ask about, hey, some of the symptoms, have you ever seen people just, go, and there's no reports of it. And a lot of that's
just
they're
moving all
there's
the
also
time.
No obesity. They're also moving and walking all the time. They're also eating whole foods and not
don't have the stresses of our modern lifestyle, which can be a detriment to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier there's no guarantees. Early on in my aviation career, I think I was stationed at Fort Campbell maybe 2 months, and we went on a field training exercise. 2 of the pilots crashed in one aircraft. Autopsies were done on the pilots to try to figure out the cause of the crash. One of the pilots was in such pristine physical shape that they were scratching their heads as to why he was still alive. Let me back up. He died in the crash, but whenever they opened up his chest, they discovered a defect in his heart that within about 3 years would have killed him. But his physical fitness level, for the most part, masked it.
Yeah.
Go see the doctor and get yourself checked out once a year.
Yeah, because those little defects they can catch, and then you can, or like in your case, then it might give you the kick in the butt that you need to.
That little lady standing there shaking her finger at me.
Yeah.
Change your lifestyle, otherwise I'm going to put you on alpha block.
And I'm glad that you went for the lifestyle, because there's always a time and a place for things like alpha blockers, beta blockers, all of that, but like lifestyle is really the only lasting
that's the big thing.
true solution.
choose a lifestyle and pursue it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. What now when you were, what's your military career history like?
Well, the first 9 years I spent as a fire control instrument repairman, small arms repairman, and I finally made my way to flight school. Flight school was pretty demanding.
Was that in Florida?
No, flight school for me was in Enterprise, Alabama, Daleville, Alabama,
Okay.
at Fort Rucker. Yeah, and there the physical fitness part of it was pretty demanding. They essentially whipped us all into shape. We looked pretty pristine then.
Yeah.
And then after you get out to the unit, then for the most part, physical fitness, although it's important, sometimes it just got pushed to the side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and anyway, but I was a aviator for the Army for, about 14 years. Spent part of that time as an instructor pilot. I flew Cobras, gunships, then later on I went to transition into the Apaches, the Alpha model Apaches.
Mm-hmm.
And then seemed like no time later, it's time to retire. Retired in 2002, about the time global war on terror broke out.
Yeah.
I called them and I said, "You sure you want me to retire?" And they said, "We got this, Ken." I said, "Okay." 20-some years later,
Yeah.
But anyway, after that, I found myself working for a, how would you say, as a property manager
Okay.
for about 6 months, and then I found myself working for the Corps of Engineers as a budget technician. There I found myself behind a desk, 8.5 hours a day. And that's when the wife and I decided it was time to start running and doing something.
Smart move.
Both of us, were behind desk
Yeah.
that length of time. So anyway, but after we moved up here, I found myself working at Fort Eustis for a period of time, and behind a desk still there as a budget technician. Pretty soon I found myself out at range control and was the range control safety guru, so to speak. Spent about 2.5, 3 years doing that, and then retired from civil service. Oh yeah. Yeah, and that saw some activity, but that was right around 2012 when I retired.
Mm-hmm.
That picture shows me at 2013. I didn't gain all that weight in that 1 year.
Yeah.
I was pretty heavy when I retired there. And then the period after that, it's been, being a house husband for the most part. Sometimes being the babysitter,
Yeah.
for the grandchildren. Yeah, and doing karaoke, going out, things like that, until I finally found my way to the gyms, starting with a vending machine, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
moving to a studio, and then finding my way over to Coastal. I have interviewed with other gyms, and with those interviews, oh, by the way, show us what you got.
Yeah.
And then they have me had me participating in what they did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, Coastal still takes it.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
So-
So, what? Walk us through a typical day in your life, like exercise, eating.
Yeah,
kind
what's
of-
a routine look
what's
like?
a routine for you?
Our basic routine these days is I get up at 3:45, have a cup of coffee.
Is that just baked into you from the military?
It is.
Okay.
I'm awake at 3:30, 4 o'clock anyway. Yeah, and that is from the military. So I get up then, have a cup of coffee, then I change clothes and come on down to Coastal, for the 5:15 class.
Mhm.
Believe it or not, after class I go home and dry off, and I'll slip on my comfy pants and a t-shirt and go get in the evil chair and stretch out for about an hour while my wife's going to another studio to exercise. And when she gets home at about 8:30, I've just about got breakfast prepared. Yeah, we have some breakfast, do some crosswords, and while it was warmer, we'd get up and go walk. But since it's gotten a little cold outside and breezy, our address is Windy Point Drive in Potosi. Yeah, and I'm here to tell you, it lives up to its name.
Does it? That's my worst nightmare. The wind, man.
Yeah.
I'm such
So-
a baby in the cold.
We get cleaned up for the day, and then sometimes we'll go shopping. She likes to sometimes place all the orders online. We drive there and pick it up and come home. It's kind of like, we really need to walk around the store.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got to force some exercise.
But anyway, that's pretty much our day. And then at night we'll go out and sing karaoke. Yeah, and we will have a few drinks. Occasionally we will eat out. We won't eat supper at home. We'll eat there.
Mm-hmm.
We found a new place down here called In the Zone that they have greaseless frying. They're using air fryers.
fryer,
And,
yeah.
Okay.
and oh my gosh.
That's cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Where's that at?
It's on George Washington Memorial Highway 17.
Yeah.
You know where Big Lots is?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's
Okay.
down in Yorktown.
Oh, it's right over
Yeah,
there.
Right there. It's right next door to Pet Zone.
Yeah. I know
the
exactly
guy-
what you're talking
The
about.
guy who owns Pet Zone started In the Zone.
Mhm.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
So anyway,
Everything's gonna be zone. The zone shop.
The whole zone, yeah.
So,
I'll have
yeah.
to check that out.
Don't let them know there's a diet called the zone diet.
The zone.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll, let's see, last week I think I got the fish and chips with a side of broccoli. Kind of odd combination, in a bar.
Yeah.
But the broccoli helps, and you got to have your greens.
Yep. Fill you up.
And then the other night I had chicken and chips with a side of broccoli. And, the one thing I didn't feel was bloated after eating all that food.
Mm-hmm.
Usually whenever you eat that greasy food,
Yeah, it's
you feel
such a
bloated.
concentration
Oh,
of
yeah.
calories.
Yes.
Yeah.
It hits
So-
you hard.
I don't know what the calorie concentration is for the air fried stuff, but I just feel better.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, we'll do karaoke. We go out a couple of times a week.
What's your go-to?
Go-to song.
Oh, go-to song? Come Monday.
Who sings that?
Jimmy Buffett.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
thought he was gonna say T-Pain or something.
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
You can't go wrong with Jimmy. Old
Nah.
Jimmy Buffett.
No,
Yeah.
not at
Jimmy
all.
Buffett. That's my go-to song.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a few others
Y'all
that I like.
do you and your wife do like a duet? Y'all got a
Yeah,
go-to duet
We've
song?
got a go-to duet. It's called "I've Got You, Babe."
Perfect.
So
Classic.
That is
we
classic.
we haven't done that one in a while. So now that you bring it up, we're going to have to.
You're gonna have to do it.
Do it.
yeah. Karaoke,
So-
man.
My wife, she can sing really well, but she won't do it for me. But her dad would always tell me, just you got to get her a little drunk, and then she'll
Whitney sings really well too,
sing, yeah.
but she would never sing in front of people.
Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe 4 drinks later.
You guys shoot pool?
Not really.
Not really.
I know how to shoot pool, but I can't say I shoot
Well,
pool.
I was going to say, one of these Tuesday nights, we could probably meet up at In the Zone.
There we go.
Yeah, and if they're in the environment, they're liable to get the nudge to go up there and sing.
You're right. We'll have
So-
to plan it out. Yeah. You don't want me to sing.
Nah, you don't want me to sing
Yeah.
either. People in the gym hear me sing enough, and it's not good.
Whenever I was in school for vocal training,
Mhm.
is because I couldn't find a job. One thing I learned, and this kind of applies to just about anything. One thing I learned from my vocal instructor, and she had quoted Estelle Liebling as saying, not everybody can sing, but everybody can be taught to sing better. And it's kind of like,
Yeah.
we can teach you to sing. So half of it's just getting up there.
Yeah.
My wife wouldn't get near a microphone, and I would get up there and sing karaoke. And next thing you know, she tries the song, talks to a few friends, and now I can't keep the mic out of her hand.
You got her going, man. You created a monster.
When I'm in my car,
Oh, I'm the best.
some of these country songs with the real deep bass, I
Yeah.
can go there.
You can feel
I
good
hit
about it?
that.
I can go high sometimes.
But again, that's when I'm in my car by myself that it sounds good. So.
Hey, but you hear it on the outside, and it's just you like shrieking.
You always sound better in the shower, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you've got a towel enclosed and glass enclosed shower, that's the best.
The worst is when the music's going and you're really getting it, and then it cuts off, and then you hear yourself, and you're like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. That's the story of my life.
No, you guys have got good voices that you could
Figure it
probably
out.
crank out a song.
We'd be
yeah.
all right.
How do you like to listen to your music at home? Do you like I know the old school discs? What do you call them?
Record player?
Record player.
No,
I'm
we don't have those.
They're like popular now. I
They
know.
are. Yeah, they're very popular.
Barry at the gym,
Yeah.
he collects them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I used to have that collection too.
Mhm.
I had the 45s, with the,
Mhm.
believe it or not, I made my own little record player. Had a couple of record players that didn't work. I was taking electronics in high school, and I just kind of figured out how to read a
You
schematic.
just Frankenstein them together.
Yeah, I did that. Built my own amplifier, a little small amplifier.
You
Played
ever
my
feel
45s.
You ever feel useless when people tell you stuff like that? Could you?
I felt useless listening to his life story, and I'm like, what am I going to tell people in 30 years?
Yeah,
I've been working at a gym.
Well, you know,
I've been working at a gym and walking my dog every day.
well, what are you going to tell folks? You've been influencing people.
That is true.
Oh,
That
my
is
goodness.
true.
Don't cut yourself short.
We are
know,
good influence.
I moved from Houston, Texas to Flora, Illinois. Flora population 4,999.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, and that was in 1969. And oh my goodness, since then I think population has grown to 5,010. Wow. So anyway, I walked into the high school as a freshman, halfway through my freshman year, and I sit down and talk with the guidance counselor, and she looks at me and says, Ken, I'm looking over your records, and you just look like you're an average old Joe. We're going to put you in the industrial arts program.
Could you imagine if you did that now?
Yeah, that's a lawsuit, bro. You can't tell someone they're average.
Oh my goodness. I thought, well, okay. I got in the industrial arts program, and they made me take algebra. And folks, squirm at taking algebra for the most part. Well, it just didn't, sink in. But whenever I got into electronics or drafting or woodworking, that algebra made sense. And I was able to apply it. I wasn't able to work in the class, but I could apply it. Years later, while I'm getting my music degree, guess what? Algebra came up.
Wow.
And next thing you know, I'm down in the library tutoring people how to do algebra.
It's funny when it's engaging in something you like.
Yeah.
When I was in college, I have an exercise science degree. Physics, not that it escapes me, but one, probably wasn't very interesting on its own, and I failed physics multiple times. My fault for not doing my homework and studying, but when I hit biomechanics, I got an A in biomechanics. It was interesting. It was engaging. I just aced it and understood it very well because it was something I was interested in.
Yep.
I love how the human body moves and how the physics applied to it, but physics by itself was just it just wasn't there for me. So similar thing.
You can tell that you enjoy the biomechanics.
Oh, for sure.
Well, the way you demonstrate each one of the moves every morning, you and Ben, Kristen.
We love it.
Oh yeah, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Ben's on a whole nother stratosphere.
Yeah, Ben. Ben exists with movement.
Yeah.
It's part of him.
Yeah.
And his NKT and all that.
Oh yeah, he's on a different level than all of us.
He was a client at first.
Yeah.
And we noticed he would notice things along those lines real quick, and then once he got his certification,
quit his job.
Yeah, I've just never seen anyone learn and pick up the anatomy.
He absorbs information so well, and I think we've said it before, but he's like a freaking sponge. When his mind goes to something, it's all in, and he just consumes and learns, and then switches that off and then applies. It's such an interesting. I can't wait till they dissect his brain in 100 years.
Yeah, so bottom line, no matter what y'all do, don't sell yourself short.
Yeah. I mean, and we know, and the reality is, this is a huge generational problem now, right?
Yeah.
And this is what we believe in, in the fitness providers. It's more in the future. I think, in a way, we're going to be part of healthcare, right?
And preventative.
There's a long way to go, but because you need better gyms and better coaches, but ultimately it's needs to be tied together. You go to your doctor and get these things, but the correct prescription for a lot of people is hey, go be active and eat better. But our environments work against that, so you're going to need that support and accountability from coaches,
multiple
trainers.
people. Yeah.
So the gyms are actually the front line of the healthcare system for the most part.
Absolutely agree.
ACE teaches that for the most part. Yeah, and there is a disconnect, though, it seems like. Even though I see job opportunities at Riverside for personal trainers, group fitness instructors, there seems to be a revolving door there because they're constantly advertising. I don't understand why. But anyway, I think that the gyms might take a step towards the healthcare if they went and just talked with the doctors.
Yeah.
Give the doctors an opportunity. Hey, come work out with us.
Yeah, and earn their respect and see. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, we're working on that.
That's why we have our program, the way it is, and to help fit people better, as opposed to just let's make you as tired as possible and super rah-rah.
Because that's not what we believe is best for people. And so
kind of making those relationships.
Yeah. And if we could integrate it to where it does all work together very well, I think it would be beneficial and probably will save everybody money in the long run. Just on a large scale, if we can prevent a little bit more, then, everyone's going to be more better off. And, like, things like diabetes, cancer, heart disease, like how much those cost yearly is astronomical.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a lot of folks don't realize that just simply exercising can probably eliminate the need for insulin for the type 2 diabetes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I say probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nuance.
No sure bets.
But in general.
No sure bets.
Yeah.
But anyway, a lot of folks would be a whole lot better off if they exercised.
Yeah.
I mean, it's we're made to do it, right? I mean, and you look at compared to some like a dog, right? If you stick a dog in a cage all day, when he gets out, what's he want to do? He's got all this pent up aggression or not aggression
energy.
per se, but energy. And people are the same way, even if we don't realize it. We need that outlet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, the bodies were made to work. I think about one of the individuals we learned of in history. His name is Noah. He was 500 years old whenever he got tasked to build an ark. And he didn't have any children. By the time the ark was finished, 100 years later, he had 2 sons, I believe it was. And I think about that because they didn't have power tools back then.
Yeah.
You had to do it the old-fashioned way.
I can only imagine what their bodies looked like as far as being in physical shape.
You definitely didn't need gyms. You didn't need to replicate.
And that's what we're trying to really emulate or replace is like that manual labor that we did for really up until modern times when we started to make machinery and things like that.
Yeah, we're victims of our own convenience.
That is the human condition.
Yeah.
Is that we're always striving to improve and make things better and easier, which like there's nothing intrinsically wrong with that, but we end up shooting ourselves in the foot.
We end up too comfortable.
Yeah.
Look at the process, the evolution of acquiring food, right? It used to be, at one point, you had to walk and gather and hunt and kill, and obviously all those things involve
a lot of work.
Physicality. And then eventually, we were able to farm and have animals that we kind of, groom to be food. But still, there's some labor. Yeah, you got
that's
farm
intensive.
labor and all that, but a little more consistency with what to expect. And then eventually we have, the mass stuff, which then produces grocery stores to where then it kind of evolved to where, we just need to, now we have to go at least walk to our car and walk into the store and gather the food and in the store and then go home and cook it. But now, 2021,
you could have everything delivered.
We're literally staring at, you can order food from any restaurant, so any type of food flavor that you can imagine, delivered to your door. You never have to step foot outside of your house. You would never have to walk more than 50 steps a day, and you can have unlimited food.
Yep.
And that's
with no work being done.
And again, remember, this is an evolution, right? So, where are we going to be?
Yeah, is it going to continue down this
10
path?
years from now, Like, do you even have to get out of your room? Eventually, there's like a tube that just goes straight to your
dumps
mouth.
it, yeah.
So it's an uphill battle.
Yeah, there was a song a bunch of years ago called "In the Year 2525." What's it going to be like in 2525? Everything we think, do, or say is going to be in the pill we took today.
Yeah.
So
it
might be with the food too.
You're starting to see some of these like shakes or and they're like, this is all the food.
Like
you need.
Soylent Green.
But it's just a bunch of.
It misses the mark.
Well, there's one that's called Just Egg.
Just egg.
And it's like a little bottle of food that's supposed to be like complete nutrition. And the ironic thing is there's no egg in the ingredients. It's all
which is
other stuff.
And usually it's a bunch of stuff that's just added, right? It's all been separated or, manufactured, and then they put it all together,
Synthetic
the vitamins
and stuff.
And
it's like, why don't you have just an egg?
Just an egg? Weird.
But anyways, it's comfort, yeah.
It sounds like something that scientists and accountants got together and drummed up,
That
the cheapest chemicals.
Yeah, scientists, accountants, businessmen.
That tastes good, and we'll sell it.
And now you hear a lot of the way stuff's pointing is, we have to recreate our natural environment. And that's where, hey, make sure you are eating these whole foods. And even now they're learning a lot about the benefits of, sunlight into our eyeballs, being outside, and the benefits of different exposures to different elements like
Yep.
cold and heat.
That we need that stress.
It's important for our health. And now since we very easily could just manage to never have to leave our house to make money and to get food, we have to start creating things like gyms and saunas and these things so we can work this stuff into our day and have that exposure. And all of it, it's funny, and what people have to accept is all these things literally are creating discomfort, but that's a good thing, right?
You have to seek discomfort.
Of course, eating leaner protein, higher fiber foods is not as fun and exciting as eating, delicious, highly processed, highly packaged, heightened food. And also, of course, sitting in 68-degree air-conditioned room is more comfortable than jumping into an ice plunge or whatnot. But that's the point, is discomfort is starting to be a downfall.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to put... And I think I used to kind of maybe crap on them a little bit for a period, but like I kind of understand why people do things like obstacle course racing and things that are hard. It's more of like the discomfort of doing something like that like is beneficial to you. Now physically, like, you can get beat up doing it, whatever, but like I understand the aspect of putting yourself in a situation that's not comfortable and why people kind of seek that out, and maybe they don't even know why, but they're like, I feel the drive to do something that's hard. And that's very important for people, just us as human beings, to do.
All right, Ken. I think we covered a lot.
Yeah.
And I learned some things, and we always, we're lucky. We talk about environment. We're lucky that our environment is being able to see guys like you coming to the gym and train and know, hey, like, he's doing the same stuff I'm doing now. That gives us hope and excitement. That what we're doing is the right track and it's motivating. So we always appreciate that, having guys like you around.
I appreciate being wanted.
Yeah, it's great, man.
I appreciate you having me up here today.
Yeah, definitely.
I can kind of share some of my life story, so to speak. There's a whole lot more to it, but anyway.
Yeah, hey, I mean, we could always have you on again. Yeah. Any closing remarks or just anything you want to kind of sum up for people, or any good gems for people that may help them?
We are what we consume. Okay, keep that in mind every time you put something in your mouth. Our environment. Well, when we're adults, for the most part, and away from home, we're creating most of our own environment. Especially whenever we're not in an office, working or something like that. That's another environment altogether. But our own environments, if they're healthy, you're going to feel good. If they're not healthy, you're going to feel like crap. And that's just the bottom line. So eat well, sleep well, and be happy.
Yeah.
Easy
well
peasy.
Said. I love it. All right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode, and if you have any comments or thoughts, you can hit us up.
Yeah, reach out to us.
Social media.
We can ask Ken. We see him. Somebody sees him every day at the gym, even if it's not the two of us every day.
Just go down to your local karaoke bar.
And you'll find Ken.
Maybe you'll run into Ken.
Run into him at In the Zone.
All right. We appreciate you for listening.
See ya.
Bye.
As always, thanks for listening, guys. If you want to learn more, check us out at coastalfitnessva.com or garydeagle.com. We'll see you next time.